My name's Chris Bird-Jones and I was born in Llangollen, brought up in the area. My grandparents were actually from Oswestry. The project for Qube's been going on, I've been working with the MA students from Wolverhampton, and we have been involved in the project over 18 months now, looking at different ways of incorporating glass into this one point within Qube itself in the building.
We're hoping to experiment today with actually putting pieces in the glass when it's poured. They're called inclusions. So
seems like kept coming up.
yeah.
It's an actual term for when you put the glass in.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting what you were saying about the architecture and how you were trying to, it was quite open at all building to a centre, because that's exactly what we were trying to get, this idea of.
I suppose it depends on. Oh, that's quite nice that way.
Yeah.
It catches the light, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it depends on.
that does too.
When the two.
Quite different.
Oh yeah.
They are.
Yes.
Will the inclusions be coloured or
No, they're going to be clear as well.
clear as well?
Because we felt like if there was other exhibits going on, we didn't want to compete with that.
Yeah, that was in the sort of early days. I was keen to have glass.
And what I've actually done is I've worked with a very clear, transparent strip at the centre, maintaining that stronger line of light, but then emphasising that with these two bands of sandblasting. But those are actually, they have shapes, emulating these shapes of circles and triangles behind that, which will allow the light to come through and it'll modulate it rather than it being constant. So when you're actually moving around, looking at the piece, you'll be able to see that inner glass, if you like, using the thickness of the glass between. Okay, first of all you need to make the former, and that's the pattern that you use, which you put into the sand. Having sifted all the sand, you need to get it nice and evenly sifted, so you can then gently press the form in and then shore up the sides, and you then take your pattern out. And you can then add forms to that once your basic form is in the sand. Put a layer of graphite which will hopefully leave the glass nice and clean when it's removed. Once that's all done, you dry it with the flame. Nice process, it's all finished, and you dry it with the flame. So then, gathering the glass from the furnace. That is then poured in in its molten form, so it takes its own level, so it's quite important as well that the sandbox is level to start off with. Otherwise you'll end up with something that's thicker one side and thinner the other. So that having been done, that then needs to cool slowly. When you take the molten glass from the furnace, you can see that it's that wonderful cherry red as it's poured in, and gradually as it cools it will become clear, and when it's just slightly yellowy then you need to take the form. It's solidifying at that point. Maybe the very heart is still slightly soft, but it is quite a rapid transformation from molten to solid. So from a flowing substance like syrup to a solid substance like a brick. Once it's reached a fairly stable point and it's fairly solid, it then has to go into the annealing chamber to cool down gradually and to be held at the temperature for annealing, which is when all the molecules go back into the same format to make it safe. It would crack. It wouldn't be stable. So if you had difference in heat with it, it could blow up, in fact. So that process is really important. And then, of course, once it's actually cooled, I'll just pick one up. Once it's actually cooled, you've got the form that you've been working with, and you can see that it's relatively clean. You might need to polish up some small parts of it, depending on the finish you want, but the back surface is actually completely flat, and you can then work cold on it, either polishing it or, as in this case, working with some sandblasting.